Okay. So as I let go during the meditation, I felt gentle and soft body movements, front and back, front and back. Also, I felt gentle movement on the forehead. Yes, you will start to feel these very gentle movements happening in the body. So once again, if you go to the yogic practice, then the movement of energy in your body can sometimes lead to automatic body movements in meditation, which also was my experience when I first started to practice. Can be very gentle, can be even very violent, and can be extremely distracting as well. So what made it worse for me when I was experiencing that was that I became very interested and obsessed with it. That was one. And then asking, what is this? What is this? This is so interesting, right? So I was constantly seeking the answer for why is this happening, and not knowing that because I was so interested in it, I was forming a kind of identity, right? So this became like baking bread, and I was so excited about it. And this became like a possession of my mind. My mind hung on to it so tightly. The fact that, yeah, this whole entire meditation hall, this particular person has strange movements in the body, right? And I would be unconsciously extremely proud of it. So I'm not saying that you probably are very proud. I don't think so, right? But there is this tendency of happening. And if not pride, then something else might be then guiding you to keeping it there. So the best thing that I would tell you is to just let it go. But then even as I say that, I remember as well that whenever somebody told me that, I would be very angry at that person, right? And then later on in my practice, I also met some other person like this. And then she would have this body movement, and I could see what was happening. She went to a teacher asking about that, and the teacher said, no, don't pay attention to it. Just ignore, go back to your practice. She was so disappointed at that teacher. So she went and found another teacher. And the other teacher said, no, don't pay attention to this, just ignore. She got so disappointed at that. So she went to another teacher. The teacher said, oh, this is so wonderful. You're going through such a transformation. This is energy moving in your body, and you're going to benefit so much from this. And then guess what? It became her teacher, right? She started to worship this guy. So what just happened? It was the ego, right? The identification. She started to feel that there was some value in what was happening to her. She wanted to hang on to it, and she needed as well a kind of validation from someone. And the teacher, who is a teacher, his role is actually to stop that from happening to you, because your mind is the one that we want to let go in the first place. Why would we want to feed your mind? And therefore, teachers would normally tell you to just ignore. Don't make it an issue. Don't make a thing. Just let it go. But then there might be one or two other teachers knowingly or unknowingly feeding that person's ego. And then that's it. Then that ego is latching onto that teacher, latching onto that person that is giving the ego such a big sense of validation. So it's such a big sense of identity, right? So we watch that from happening ourselves. But I think I diverged from that question. So let's go back here again. So this gentle and soft body movement, front and back, gentle movement in the forehead. Let's give a name to that. So more or less, you will probably experiencing the Kundalini Shakti, right? Which is the, in translation of serpent energy, which is a dormant form of Shakti or power that is normally at the base of your spine. So during a meditation practice, or one that is very strong in the energy, or you might be in the presence of someone that has that kind of very strong energy as well, and you have begun resonating with it, that could awaken the energy in your body. So this Kundalini Shakti, right, or the serpent energy, is also, when it comes to the yogic practice, the reason why we focus on physical body, right? The reason why yoga is one of the spiritual traditions that very strangely focus on the body, whereas other spiritual traditions focus on your mind, focus on worship, and focus on the not physical, right? But yoga focuses on physical because it has the premise that within this physical body has the technology of taking you past the physical. And one of the aspects of that technology is the dormant Kundalini Shakti. And then awakening that energy in your body is awakening your body to the full potential of then transforming your inner being, transforming your psyche that way. So whether that is true or not true, right? I would just leave it open-ended and leave it up to you, because actually I too am a yogi, right? And for me, I balance between these two worlds, the hatha world of physical practice and the raja world of just meditating and being mindful. And in many intents and purposes, I see so much connection between the two, and I see how the two support each other. But in this particular context, I have actually gone to a Vipassana 10-day retreat, and I have actually asked, my body moves when I meditate, right? There's that swaying motion. My spine feels like a snake, right? And then the teacher says, just ignore, okay? So that's that. Okay, and hopefully that's a fair answer that can bring you forward to a meaningful place, okay? So next is, I find that since identifying on the Hridaya, I don't feel the impulse to check the time left for the meditation session. Wonderful. Instead, I end up sitting longer than intended because it felt like I could sit for longer. I feel an intense heat and vibration in the center, but sometimes so strong I end up tearing almost every session. There was no emotion attached with the tears, just the intense energy and warmth in the heart. Perhaps it's a release of some sort. Yes, a lot of crying, a lot of laughter, a lot of smiling, a lot of sadness, a lot of intense things come out from the Hridaya. So let it come. It is a beautiful, beautiful way of letting yourself deepen into the practice. The spanda, or the vibration, manifests itself in so many ways. Right? It's not such a bad thing to cry, is it? My teachers cry. They cry in front of us. They cry in the middle of their lectures. They talk about a spiritual teacher and they can't contain their tears. Their tears roll down their cheeks. And these are grown men. Or sometimes they would just laugh and then they can't contain their laughter, and perhaps the whole entire room starts laughing as well. Explore the dimension of the heart. From a sense of emptiness can come so much depth, so much possibilities. You will be left with the conclusion that this is definitely something, not nothing. It just looks like nothing because you have seen it from the perspective of your mind, which can only see things. If something that comes to you that is beyond space and time, wouldn't it appear to the mind as nothingness? Wouldn't it appear to the mind as something boring or meaningless? It would. So in order to get past that layer of the mind and to stop identifying with it, you get yourself to that place of nothingness and you stay. And you wait. And you be as silent as the silence that is waiting for you. Okay? Good. And then for this person, if you feel that you can sit longer, why not sit longer? Maybe your next Sangalpa, you can start already to increase the duration of your practice. Good. So very, very encouraging to see so much progress that you're making. Thank you very much. Okay, my experience doing the meditation this morning, though I detached myself from any thoughts, the issue that had been bugging me in months appeared. My experience doing my meditation this morning, same sentence, appeared together with a solution. Oh, it was kind of a good feeling. Wonderful. So sometimes we are in a very dark place and there are a lot of scary trees around us. I think I told you that story already. What does the practice do other than to elevate us to a place where we can see the entire forest and the scariness of the trees? They don't seem so scary anymore. And perhaps since you have become in such an elevated place, you can also start to see the path outside, out of the forest. And then maybe once you bring yourself down, you remember the way and you walk out. That beautiful sense of perspective or understanding or wisdom coming out from a meditation practice. So thank you very much for sharing this.